Welcome everyone, this is Polly Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
Guerendus.
Hello everyone.
Arendus.
Hey everybody.
Calabathian.
Hello, I'm a sad bean.
And Krister.
Hello.
He is not a sad bean.
He's a coffee bean.
I'm a coffee bean.
Let us head into our news for this week, where we'll begin with the release of Update 30, The Blood of Azad. And
apparently everybody's playing it, because every time I turn around, my Twitch notifications are, oh, so-and-so's playing Blood of Azad. Oh, Blood of Azad. Oh, Blood of Azad. I'm like, shut up already. Can you tell who hasn't played the game this week?
Don't feel bad. I can't even play it because I have no characters that are that high level. Be alright.
We, of course, have this week Interlude, Blood of Azad, where after the escape from Gorgar, son of Bog, and the sealing of the gates of Mount Gunabad by Hrimo Frostheart, Prince Durin faces his first true test as a leader of the Gabilacha. As Durin weighs whether it will be vengeance or wisdom that guides his hand, Lord Glowing and stops turn to conflicts of old, all too familiar with the triumphs and sorrows of Durin's folk. So, Blood of Azad, we are heading out into a little bit of an interlude where we are going to look into the history of the war with the dwarves and the orcs into there. So we are going to actually visit the Demerald Dale from an earlier time. I guess similar to what we did with Mordor back when we had the Minas Morgul update. And yay. The Blood of
I said yay.
Yeah, the Blood of Azad is free to VIPs and available to purchase in the LOTRO store as a quest pack inside the game. We also have here Tales of Yore, Azad Bazaar, and this is the actual part where you're going into the back in time among the dwarves of the Lonely Mountain. Studious scholars have kept detailed accounts of the history of Durin's folk. So that's how they're handling you going through this, is you're reading the story of what happened back in Azad Bazaar, since of course it's pretty impossible for your character to have been there.
Didn't we do that slightly lower down in Moria with like the whole like we can't get out?
Well, that was a session play though.
Yeah, that was.
Yes, but there was totally. We went back in time because we were reading something, and I'm like, this feels familiar.
Yes. Well, in this case, they're not doing it as a session play, and it's done more like a zone than in a session play. As I said,
also, they can probably get out, right? They get out, right? Everyone survives, right?
Well, no spoilers.
Yeah, we can't get any spoilers. If you want any spoilers on this, read one of the appendices of from the Return of the King.
I was being facetious.
Also, in this update, we have a raid, the Fall of Khazad-dûm. Although the fate of Khazad-dûm was all but certain in the year 1981 of the Third Age, the dwarves of Durin's folk resolved to make a final stand against the Balrog of Morgoth, but better known as Durin's Bane. In this new
you said 1981, and I was like, oh Lord, that was the same year MTV came out. MTV is the Balrog?
Well, the truth comes out.
The truth comes out. Video killed the radio star.
The Dwarven radio star.
Balrog killed the radio star.
Yeah.
Don't give me any more ideas with Balrogs.
In this new 12-player raid, players will join King 9 the First and his vanguard, including Nafni, as they valiantly attempt to drive Durin's Bane from the second hall. And players will gain access to this new raid approaching the gates of Khazad-dûm at Azanul Bazaar. In addition, players who have finished the main quest line to Tales of Yore Azanul Bazaar are granted an additional quest to complete the raid and earn unique rewards. Tiers 1 to 3 are now available. The Leading the Charge deeds will be available through August 11th, but I believe they have, unless they've already updated the timeline on that. I'll read later on what the actual timeline is, because originally they announced one set of timelines and then they pushed it back a week. So I'll skip over those for now, since I'll be revising those later. And now, let's head into some class updates here. I think most of these are pretty much the same as they were on Bulwark, but I think there were a few changes in there. The Earnings Exposed is now a target debuff that increases the incoming damage by about 7.5% for melee and 5% for ranged. In human forms, it buffs tactical and ranged instead. Vigilant Roar no longer taunts by default. Vicious Claws, tank version only, can no longer miss nor be blocked, parried, or evaded. And damage has been increased for Slam, Nature's Vengeance, Beast Form, Vicious Claws, particularly in Redline, Grizzly Cry, Vigilant Roar, Thrash, Expose, Bash, and Execute.
Okay, Pine, I totally thought you said that expose meant that there was incoming damage to you had been, like, you were debuffed and would now take more damage, and I was sitting there going, man, they really took our stuff seriously about calling them OP furballs. They have given OP furballs a skill so that they can, be hurt a lot more easier. And then I realized what it was. But yeah, for a second there, I was a little confused. Like, what did I miss last week?
And cooldown on non-combat resurrection has been reduced from 30 seconds to 1 second. For burglars, in line with some other classes that have seen reductions in raid debuff skills, a few of the yellow line trickster debuffs have been similarly trimmed. Trickster debuff reductions. Destiny Eye has its maximum miss rate reduced from minus 39% to minus 15%. Oh, about. That's an about sign, not a minus sign. Never mind. About 39% to about 15%. Trick disable damage reduction has been lowered from minus 15% to minus 10%, and the attack speed reduction has been lowered from minus 20% to minus 10%. Disable has been reworked to correct various buffs. Finesse's debuff is now minus 33% of the target's finesse rather than the level scaled value. Legendary item bonus to adult tactical damage has been reduced to 5%. Unimbued bonus to induction time has reduced to 16%. And Burglar Bob and Weave and Relish Battle Trait Heal ticks faster, 1 per second. Captains!
Boo! Oh,
Boo?
Sorry about that.
Are you boo? I guess you're booing the updates and not the captains.
No. Yeah, exactly. Read that first sentence there just kills me.
Okay,
kills me finally.
Okay, I think you probably, is this something you commented on earlier and you don't wish it got live? Let's see. Captain's ability to maintain high and extended degrees of invulnerability has made them irreplaceable in high challenge content. So we've needed to limit a few of their most powerful abilities.
Yeah, so basically they said, hey, you guys do a great job. We're docking your pay. Basically, we're docking your pay.
Well, I can hear Beyonce singing Irreplaceable now.
High challenge content, but you're not in high challenge content all the time.
Well, yes,
No.
but I think a lot of these things were targeting what happens in raids, weren't they?
I think
It
the
still
jealous
affects
guardian makes all these decisions. That's what I think. There's a guardian who's bitter at the captains who makes all the decisions for us.
All right.
It's still an effect in the landscape.
Well, it probably depends on how. Let's see what the changes are. Then we can see how much effect it will have on the landscape. Yellow line. Captain Yellow line morale bonus reduced from 5% to 10%. What does
That was
that mean?
okay. So
okay.
So basically, when you switch to yellow line, you get a bonus to your morale, and so they've reduced that relatively significantly. But that wasn't too big of a deal. That's
Okay.
In my feelings.
All right. Shield of the Dunedain legendary item legacy cooldown bonus reduced from plus 10 seconds to plus 5 seconds. Total duration reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Shield of the Dunedain can only be used on others.
Yeah, that one's painful because Shield of the Dunedain was definitely in my rotation as a tank, and so. I just want to understand why, other than the statement that basically said, you guys are really good. Therefore, we're going to punish you.
You're too good. We have to punish you. You can't go to GT classes. You have to be held back a year.
Hold it. Let me see Actually, let me think on this. Because they're saying that because I had thought that a lot of the changes were supposed to be on them giving large groups a buff, but in this case, it sounds like what they're doing is they're making it so they can't buff themselves.
Well, that's exactly it. And so that was, part of that legacy they're talking about as the irreplaceable is that we can, if the captain does it right, they can be relatively invulnerable for a decent swath of time, enough time to make a difference.
Aha. Stand tall.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Stand tall duration bonus reduced from plus 10 seconds to plus 3 seconds. Proc cooldown reduced from 1, 2, 3 to 1, 1.5 to 2.
And I don't know how I feel about that one yet. So.
Okay. Then let's have a look at red line, where telling mark base effect reduced from 5% to 3%. The traded bonus has been reduced from 5% to 2%, total being 10% to 5%.
Right. So that's something that affects everybody too. Putting telemark up, it now does less damage. Period.
About half effectively it does half. The effect is reduced in half from what it was before.
Yeah.
As a 100% uptime debuff with no action time cost, telling mark's group effect was too powerful. Any comment on that statement?
Not that one. No.
Okay. Kick can no longer miss nor be blocked, parried, or evaded.
And that's very nice, I think, across the board for everybody.
Fixed. Captain Banner Heralds were not correctly inheriting offensive bonuses from their summoner.
Good. That's good.
And fixed, an old make haste duration change that was never processed correctly.
Yeah, so I don't understand what that entails exactly, but I'm assuming I will discover it as I use my new more.
I would presume that how long it was waiting and what the tooltip said were not quite in sync with each other.
Yeah.
A few captain buffs are now raid-wide. As part of this change, motivating speech needed to be turned into a duration buff in order to make it raid-wide. Motivating speech now has a 5-minute duration with a 1-minute cooldown.
Yeah, and that is okay, but now leave it alone. Don't ever. You guys should have. We had it as we would have to use it as a buff, and then it became a toggle, and now it's a buff again. Leave it alone. Just okay. It's a buff forever now.
No, I'd rather it be back to a toggle.
I would too.
As somebody who's running with a captain on the landscape, I'd prefer it to be back to a toggle.
I liked the toggle as well, but
modify it differently in a raid.
Yeah, just it would be nice to almost have a choice in how you wanted to. If you could have an option to run it, however, although everybody would probably just pick toggle. So, but yeah, just don't want them to touch it again. just don't change the nature of it anymore.
Yeah.
No touchy. No touchy.
Well, we'll see what happens the next time they have class balance changes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Next year, when we have the next set of class changes. All right, any other comments on the captains overall, since that was the full list?
just that I like the fact, I think with several classes where things have gotten raid-wide now, and that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Now, for the champion, Clobber can no longer miss nor be blocked, parried, or evaded.
Right, that's the interrupt.
Right. So I'm pretty sure that there are no complaints about that one.
No. Basically, they just made it so that your interrupts can't be blocked, parried, or evaded, which should have been a thing from the beginning, honestly. So, yes, for making this change kind of across the board.
Yeah. Then for Guardians, protection by the sword's group melee damage buff has been increased from 2% to 5%. Sting has had its cooldown reduced from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds, which will allow it to be more conveniently slipped in between skills with longer attack executions. Heavy weapons training now increases skill damage by 10%, up from 5%. Relentless Assault now grants a modest amount of finesse. And several skills received a damage boost. This is, just a whole set of them. Probably looks like half their skills at least were increased in that. And Stamp is going to no longer be blocked, parried, or evaded because that's, of course, their interrupt.
Does this mean a Guardian could fill a DPS slot?
Well,
No.
if they're in red line, it might.
I would have to think I can't play a Guardian. I'm just.
I think that might be
just
going a
throwing it
little
out
bit
there.
too far, but
I was just kind of, basing it off of the past and, the past, I guess, feelings about Guardians and stuff. So
they could be the off DPS.
kind of like the off Broadway.
Now for
no, like you have your tanks and your off tanks. Your DPS and your off DPS. And with the Guardians, really off.
Don't tell me about off Guardians, okay? Because I'm writing about one right now.
Now for Hunters. Hail of Arrows has been fixed to properly proc 50% of the time at the first skill tier and 100% of the time at the second.
Wait, what? Okay, that's math, and apparently I don't understand math. I'm like, how can something 50% of the time be this, but 100% of the time be better? That can't exist at the same time, can it?
No,
if it's 100%,
because here the first skill tier.
Okay.
Versus second skill tier.
Okay, because I was like, if I pull my hunter pulls back that arrow and lets it fly, is it 50 or is it 100? It's okay. So yeah, math and such.
100% it's flying. Sometimes it's not going to do as much damage as you thought it
was. Okay. Yeah, because math baffles my brain, so I try not to engage in it very much.
Don't worry, just pew pew pew.
I'll just keep shooting arrows at things and watching them die. Except in Minas Morgul, because Celeborn's not actually able to do any damage there. So
Blind Sight no longer causes the player character to move into melee range with their target if combat movement assist is active.
Yay!
Yeah, all hunters I've heard, celebrate that one. So.
Huzzah!
And of course, like many other interrupts, it cannot be parried, bringing it in line with other ranged hunter skills. Actually, it also can't be parried, period.
So was it still getting parried, but it couldn't? But it was already to the point where it couldn't be blocked or miss or evaded. It was just the parry, or are they just kind of shortening it down there to it can't be parried?
I'm not too sure on that. It was the blind side was this rather weird one because it involves I believe you pick up the arrow, you stick it in the face of the person.
You do the Legolas. You stab him first, and then you shoot him.
Yeah. Now for lore masters. The magnitude of fire and frost lore debuffs were considerably above where we were comfortable with them being for large group content. So fire lore's traded effect has been reduced from 35% to 15%, and frost lore had its traded effect reduced from 30% to 15%.
What? You can't even get a skill off in a group if you're a lore master. Come on.
Yeah, they beat up the lore masters bad on this one. So.
If you're, well, I think the only time the lore masters had trouble with that is their own landscape. But I think they're trying to make them not be too powerful in raids. I'm presuming.
Yes, but to get into raids, you have to play on the landscape.
Okay. Well, any case, Wind lore has this effect increased from 1/2/3 to 3/4/5%. So that's an improvement. Wind lore's duration has been increased to 30 seconds to free up other skills for rotation. And the following skills and effects have had their received an approximate 20% increase in damage. So burning and searing embers, Wizard's Eye, Test of Will, Gust of Wind, and Cracked Earth. Of course, a lot of those look like skills that you're lucky if you can get it off before the mob dies.
Right.
And the interaction between the trait Fierce Lightning and the skill Lightning Storm has been refactored to address frame rate drops caused by the skill. And the tooltip for Lightning Storm no longer erroneously states that the skill consumes morale.
I was just about to say, man, we're not going to be able to tell when a lore master's on the moors anymore now. They're going to use lightning, and we're going to be like, we're not even going to know. They're going to stealth us now. They're going to hit us from afar.
They're going to hit you from afar?
Yeah, because lore masters and runekeepers on the moors are usually the ones that slow everything down. Frame rate and just, everything slows down and your perception goes down and you get a message about, yeah. That's how we know that they're out. Oh, yeah, reduced awareness. And it's like, this is how we know they're out there. Alas.
Now for minstrels. Anthems should now be raid-wide.
Everybody has to sing?
We are the champions. And
the champion
no,
in
you're
your group
not.
is, no, you're not.
Excuse me.
Anthem of War's unimbued legendary item bonus to physical ranged has been reduced from about 10% to about 5%. The Anthem of War's base tactical bonus has been reduced from 15% to 10%.
Boo.
Oh,
probably not that big of a deal, but now it's.
I'm still going to use my Pibgorn,
I guess.
And the tooltip for Major Ballad now correctly states that it is a damaging skill in the dissonance form instead of resonance form.
Which still makes me chuckle.
Now for Runekeepers.
Oh, Lord.
Most redline skills have received a damage increase.
Another one?
As if Runekeepers couldn't kill you hard.
Well, the redline skills are the ones that have inductions, though, so they're going to take 5 years to actually fire off. So, yay for more reward when you finally manage to finish that induction.
Yeah, the wargs I don't think will give them time to do it on the moors.
Neither will anybody else.
Mystifying Flames now affects all incoming damage, not just fire. Its damage multiplier has been reduced from 15% to 5%. So it's become more universal, but less powerful. Mystifying Flames no longer stacks different tiers on a single target. Mystifying Flames and Molten Flame will no longer be able to be resisted. Fiery Ridicule's damage over time has been changed from 7 pulses with 2 seconds every 2 seconds to 7 pulses every 3 seconds, along with an increase in damage per tick. Essence of Flame has had its cooldown decreased from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. The induction Essay of Fire has been decreased to 2 seconds.
Smoldering Fire. I think I've read a couple of those.
Smoldering Wrath has had its cooldown increased from 15 to 17 seconds. And Frost Affinity now grants plus 20% outgoing healing rather than force setting the bonus value to 20%, which prevented any other bonuses from stacking. So now it's plus 20. So if there's another bonus, you can now get it. And of course, for Wardens, Shield Slam was given the usual canopy.
I was about to say, Essay of Fire. I may have read some of those, but I know I've read several that I've wanted to set on fire. Smoldering Wrath actually comes very quickly to me after reading an Essay of Fire. I don't know if they're linked or not.
Oh, well, that is the trouble with... That's the trouble with when you read high school essays.
Yes.
For combat, Update 30's new raid introduced a new mechanic called Revive Counters, which put a limit on the number of revives available to accept during boss fights in a new raid at Tier 2 and above. During boss fights...
Lord, I thought that said Revy Counter. I was like, what are we doing revving stuff? Okay, continue. I need new glasses, that's all.
Okay, we'll get new versions of the...
Yes.
Of the fight every 10 minutes. During the boss fights, you may see a revives available icon on your buff bar, which will track the number of revives available for the entire fellowship. Accepting revive effect decrements the counter. If the counter is currently at 0, all revive skills will become grayed out. During the fight, your fellowship will receive additional revive tokens up to a maximum of 5.
Don't die.
Right. In Tier 2, you'll start with 3 revives, and you'll get another revive once every 60 seconds, up to, of course, a maximum of 5. At Tier 3, 2 revives, getting another one once every 2 minutes. Tier 4, 1 revive you start with, and you get another one once every 3 minutes. And in Tier 5, 1 revive you start with, and you get +1 every 4 minutes.
Shouldn't it be reversed from easiest to hardest?
What do you mean?
Because if you're doing like the hardest level T5 in a raid, there's more chance of a whole bunch of death there than there is in like a T1.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be more challenging, so they're not going to give you more opportunities to revive.
Yeah, but we're not dying technically. We're just really sad.
Right,
so,
right,
you know,
right.
I could literally get a pep talk right in the middle of a fight that makes me feel better. You know, karate kick. You know, I remember sweep the leg. Everybody was inspired when he said sweep the leg. You know.
When a boss fight ends, all revive tokens clear. So these are only in effect during a boss fight.
Well, now I'm curious too with the language that they're using, because they do say fellowship as opposed to raid. So does that mean that each side of the raid has like a revive each? Because what's frustrating about when you talk about the T4 and the T5 stuff is that then, you know, at least in the beginning, the last thing you want to do is throw the captain's enhanced res, because it can revive 2 people. So why would you want to throw it when you're restricted to only the 1 revive? You know.
Well, yes, they are very much using the word fellowship here.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting. I'm sure that's probably. It's just it means the entire raid. I'm sure, but
well,
just a curious use of words there.
I suppose that we will have to find out about that.
It's a
I did-
20-man raid. Some of y'all gonna stay dead.
Well, Krister's the raider. I'm sure he'll be able to actually answer that question for us at some point.
Yeah, I'll be finding out.
You'll be finding out very quickly. I'm sure he's already making his plans for when he's going to head on into this raid.
Oh yeah, we're getting ready.
You're all getting ready for that. Remember, though, of course, it doesn't affect Tier 1. It only goes into effect starting at Tier 2.
Krister is girding his loins for battle.
For crafting, players can obtain a new recipe for their Craft Guild improved recipe vendors. The output of this recipe can be disenchanted into several Ithilgalad crafting components. And the Doomfold recipe for braised oxtail with roasted potatoes now requires the Westfold recipe loaf of barley bread as a component. Previously, it required the apprentice recipe barley bread, which is gated behind Menabrie reputation. So they decided to give it a recipe that was not rep-gated. Now for housing. When you sell a premium house, you will now receive 90% of the purchase price in premium housing rates, up from 70%. Enormous yard items should now render at a greater distance.
As you do.
Using the housing decoration Gammer's Cozy Hobbit bed will now randomly change the bedding color to one of 8 different options. The small obsidian wall carving housing decoration has been made just a bit smaller to better fit its small wall decoration hook. And the door of Mazarbul replica and freestanding door to Mazarbul replica housing decorations will now open and close on use. You may wish to remove and replace these items on their decoration hooks in order to properly update the physics. And fix some gloss and glow issues for several housing floor surfaces. Please note that they are still planning on doing the hook consolidation for the walls and furniture, but there are a couple of issues that they still had, so they decided not to make that part of Update 30. I would presume that as soon as they resolve whatever issues they have, then it'll go into whatever update that would be associated with. As for items, Anniversary, Eagle, and Summer Days fireworks can now be used while mounted.
Yay!
Adventurer's gear, when opened at level 130, will now create an item level 432, which with the chance to create at up to item level 434. And crafting materials received from Adventurer's loot boxes will now drop in slightly greater stack sizes. And a small cache of Ithilgalad crafting components is now available as a rare crafting resource drop from Adventurer's loot boxes, while the Elder Slate supply pack has been removed as a possible drop. And for NPCs, Rowan Raspberry has returned and has new cosmetic items available for Figments of Splendor, including avatar cosmetics, housing decorations, cosmetic pets, and a steed and matching war steed appearances.
Terry, you need to check out the cosmetic outfits.
Oh, how are they?
I think they look really good. No
Ooh.
gloves, though, for the one, though, which I thought was so odd. But they always seem to leave out something. Gloves, boots, something. Why? But they look really cool, and there's a really nice dress that I think is going to be my dress for the Midsummer Festival.
Ooh. Then let's head into quests and adventure areas. Rimmerhant, the Net of Darkness, Shelob's Enraged timer has been increased to 20, 21, 22, 23 minutes on tiers 2, 3, 4, 5, respectively. Zostalon, the Massive, Acidic Ichor Pool's duration has been increased from 30 to 50 seconds, and the spawn of the next daughter after one is killed has been delayed by 20 seconds.
Ooh. It's kind of a big deal. That makes that boss potentially easier to do. So.
All right. So I presume then that you understood what that all is all about.
Yeah, it's basically you have for the boss fight, you're fighting the boss and her daughter, and you need to kill. Once you get the first daughter down, if you don't get the boss into a phase to the next state before the next daughter comes out, you're pretty much toast. And so it's really fine tuning to do that. So we would always almost get it, but not quite. So adding another 20 seconds would be us getting it every time. So.
Yeah, you have a little more time to call out, okay, the daughter's down, burn the...
Yep.
burn the main.
So yeah, that's probably really good. I'm assuming maybe they have a lot of people getting frustrated about the timing, because it is frustrating to get to the point of that second daughter coming out, knowing you're going to lose, and then you have to do the whole thing over again.
Barnimath, the Houses of Lamentation, slightly lowered the damage of Torment, Flint's, and Shadowburst. All boss and encounter monsters in level 130 group instances have had their damage outputs reduced to offset the adjustments to player cast outgoing damage debuffs. Adjustments related to the balance have been made to the following instances: Shadowroost, the Harrowing of Morgul, Shakalush, the Stair Battle, and Remerhant. Additionally, some tank dots have been reduced in Shakalush, the Stairs Battle. War of Three Peaks quest, A Crack in the Iron Crown, Bandroth Adderfang has been reduced to signature difficulty. And Gabalaka's stable masters are now named mission recruiters and will allow lower level players to access assorted mission content across Middle Earth. Currently, those 3 locations that they will allow access to are Anarkerfu, to a place in Erebor where they are where the new missions are, and of course Trestle Bridge. And the mission recruiter stable masters have networked. You can now travel between Trestlebridge, Elderslade, and Erebor for your daily mission needs. And of course, this being summertime means it's the perfect time to update a Yule Festival quest, a mission to bring good cheer. It is now possible to use mythical coins to return to Mara's Sandy Downs. In Aaron Lasgland quest, New Thievery / Ambushed on the River, it is now possible to use mithril coins to return to Lorndor. In Elder Slays, the Master of Turagal, breaking combat will no longer cause Bandroth to become unresponsive. The Waste, Camp of the Host, players will no longer get stuck on invisible objects at certain points in the Camp of the Host. Midsummer quest, A Cure for All Ills, disciplining noisy revelers in Eorlit's behalf in the Houses of Healing, is now more fellowship friendly. And several stuck spots in Minas Morgul and Elderslade have been fixed. A floating staircase has been grounded in Erebor. Some region impassability has been refined in parts of the Waste, and Wildwood Release the hounds. The quest location has been corrected from southwestern Wildwood to southeastern Wildwood. And as for virtues, virtues can now go up to rank 75 at level 130. And for some miscellaneous updates, elf female avatars now use their correct base idol. Torch carrying elf / high elf runekeepers no longer T-pose, and the game credits have been updated. And as for known issues, credits in the German client will temporarily appear in English. Players who previously had freestanding door to modules slotted in their house may experience physics issues around the door. Removing and resliding the door will correct these issues. And the name for the new raid chest, the Chest of Durin's Bane, has accidentally overwritten the names of the chests of the beasts, tiers 1 through 5, for Amdan Damul, the Bloody Threshold. Therefore, if you run both raids, the raid locks info panel for these two chests from different raids will incorrectly show the same name. But can you open up both chests?
I'm kind of interested on the physics issues. I mean, could you possibly be able to create a clone of yourself?
Cloning is illegal right now. At least cloning like humans. So I don't think you can clone yourself. Oh, you meant on the game.
Give me an army of Crysters and I will lose every war on Middle-earth.
Lose every war.
With confidence.
But
Except
But
the race for the Balrog bites.
I was about to say, but we would eat every Balrog.
Yeah. And also note that they adjusted the schedule for opening of the Tier 4 and 5 of the new raids for the Fall of Khazad-dûm by 1 week to allow new players more time to prepare for the opening of these higher tiers. Tier 4 is now expected to open at noon Eastern on June 24th, and Tier 5 is expected to open on July 8th. Leading the Charge original Challenger deeds will be available for an additional week and are now available through August 18th. Then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon issue 208. Oh, and of course, no surprise at all, the headline photo is, of course, from the blood of Azad.
Okay, the first time I saw that image when it popped up after the update and I opened the game, I was like, is Azog absolutely a giant? What happened? Because all you would see is like him and then like the little guys in the front, and you really couldn't, you couldn't see the dwarf. So yeah, I was like, holy crap! And then I actually got to see more of the picture, and I was like, oh, it's stylized. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's a bit stylized.
I was like, wait a minute, there is a size discrepancy here.
Let's then head into the community spotlights. Update 30 has arrived. Laurel's LOTRO Den has you covered with player info to get you started. And Dottie's LOTRO Guides is the first to give you a guide for the new raid. You can check out Dottie's LOTRO Guides. And Decadumlu has put together a gallery of new housing items available in Update 30, and you could read more on their website. And Shirefest is this weekend, so if you are listening to this live, you have one more day to that because it's from July 11th through 13th, and recording this on the 12th. And you can check on the link for the schedule to show what is still remaining. And a Midsummer Festival begins next week. Fibro Jedi has you covered with a guide for the event, so I suspect that there'll be a new edition of the guide as soon as the Midsummer Festival is available. So let's head to the Kin Hall. Fables is a slow-moving kinship on Langeville that does all of the instances and raids they can while leveling deliberately. The group has regularly scheduled fellowships on Thursdays and Sundays. You can read more about them over on the LOTRO forums.
I'm not sure what the difference is between leveling deliberately and leveling accidentally. Like, don't you always level deliberately unless, I guess, you're wearing a Taurus stone to not level at all?
I think they meant deliberately as in carefully and slowly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, I suspect that was a interesting choice of words there, but yes, I'm pretty sure they meant slowly in that particular definition. Let's then head into our weekly comment. What are you most looking forward to exploring in Update 30?
New cosmetics.
That's coming from the Raider?
A very
Yeah.
stylish raider, I will
I'm
have you know.
The only thing that really motivates me to do any work is if I look at it and go, okay, that would look great on this particular outfit. I am going to go ahead and get this now.
And then you have to figure out what mount to ride with the new outfit.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's the whole process.
Well, I would think though that with a new, if you want to match with the new content, you'd be riding war pigs.
War pigs, do they? A simple question. Fine. Do war pigs trample? Then Krista will not ride it.
No, war pigs don't. Okay, when I said war pigs, I meant looking like a war pig. I did not mean war pig as in a war steed.
But a
So that
fully
would be
customizable war pig, yeah, holy cow. I'm sensing a new product line.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Could you imagine some of the mount, the warhorse cosmetics made for pigs and how that would look?
I totally want the orc heads on a pike for a war pig.
Now that would work. I'm thinking of my herbalist steed and how it gives me war steed cosmetics. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, pigs are just built too differently. Of course, the war steeds are built differently too, so sometimes the cosmetics look a little strange on them.
Anyone else have anything they wish to look forward to exploring in Update 30? All right, then let's head to the fansite news. Deco de Milo has these items now available with Rowan Raspberry, so you could check their website to show the items that have been added to Rowan. And
I was just say, speaking of herbalists, I really want that bench, that table.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Of course, that's the most expensive thing.
well, of course. You mean you don't want the pig pen?
I've already got one.
Oh, okay.
That was from before.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Let's then head back to what we have here, where last week we met an unfortunate dairy-related defeat.
Uh-oh.
That's very Christopher Rosen here.
I wasn't here. Yeah, what was it? Easy cheese? I'm assuming some kind of squeeze cheese.
Oh, we we got Heistja her report and her return to Mickle Delving in one fell swoop in the Barrow Downs, and
Yes.
And her unwise
Bree
title.
was, and her yeah, the unwise title also came, because Bree was consumed. We tried a little experiment, and by the time there's a cooldown when you eat the Bree, and by the time I hit the third one, even though I had the stable master open already to try to ride to Trestle Bridge, I think I made it maybe 10 foot out of the West Bree Gate and died.
Which is a lot better than I did, because everyone else got on their horses and ran. And unfortunately for myself, I panicked.
You only ate one piece.
I
lady.
ate one piece, and I didn't get on the horse, and I panicked. And so I just started running on Heistja instead of on the
She
horse. And
Not farther than Sans than I did, because she panicked and ran. You only ate one piece and ran.
But she only ate one piece, so I don't know if that counts
Yeah.
as farther or not.
I was just filled with terror, like, oh no, I've ruined it all, just run.
That's my typical experience in real life with cheese, but I still keep coming back.
The Licksanger returns to this Saturday to Belligere. You can learn more about their concert along with other concerts in-game over on LOTRO Artists. Though in this case, since they met today, you have to see if they have any rebroadcast for that. LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Red Baron and games on Evernight. Booger gets epic on Gladden, and Eldolet's quest in Dor Amarth. Also on Twitch, Mr. Deriv conducts a French language LOTRO stream. Adiel Valathorn continues through the Black Book, and Bloodborne kicks off Update 30. Over on YouTube, and Dangfire celebrates the launch of Blood of Azad. Louis 7 helps explain the Update 30 changes, and Elder Gamer Girl introduces you to skirmishes. And Cosmetic LOTRO has announced the winners of their latest contest, and you could see the winning retro outfits over on their blog.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you have a favorite?
I did, and I don't remember what it was.
I was going to say, well, each one you looked at, you said, "Oh, this is my favorite." This is
No, well, I kind of wish that she had posted where the pieces all came from, but that's okay. I can track. Usually, I can be relied upon to track them down for people if anyone happens to be interested.
Right.
I was bummed because I actually meant to submit an outfit, and I got sidetracked and didn't have a chance to do it.
Well, my joy comes from seeing that nobody dressed in Mathamar.
And just a reminder to everyone that next week the Ithel server will be closing, and after the restart next week, Ithel will only be available for transfers off the world. And as for our screenshot of the week, Nelia sent in this screenshot of their Basset Hound pet to thank us for bringing it to the game. You can submit your screenshot for consideration by emailing to lotro@standingstonegames.com. That concludes the Beacon issue. Also, we had Severlin, who appeared during the weekly lunch stream on Friday, and he talked about several things. The three things that I noticed during the discussion was first, he had some talk about the brawler. He said things are coming along fairly well, but it's not quite ready to announce details yet. But he did note that they are based on dwarves, are the models being used for the brawler, and that they will be wearing heavy armor and their main weapon will be gauntlets.
Weird.
Lots of punching.
Yes. There'll be lots of punching.
I could
And probably
see
some
dwarves being
headbutts.
brawlers, though. Yeah, brawlers being dwarves, I can see that.
Now, they said that it should be open to all races, but it's being modeled after dwarves.
Well,
Yeah,
I see the marketing there, though. See, Pine Leaf, if you think about it. What they're saying is that the dwarves are going to actually be the brawlers, but through a little bit of clever marketing, I think we're going to see the equivalent of like Tybo out there, where you'll have a Dwarven fitness instructor that will be selling some kind of video or presentation on how to do the Dwarven brawler workout, and that's how they're going to reach the rest of Middle Earth.
Well, this is basically going to get us the closest we can get to Hobbit Champions. So I'm all for this.
So are you saying that we're going to have a dwarven, like Billy Blanks or whatever his name was?
Absolutely,
for Tybo?
Yes. I can almost smell the gold coins.
We could now get an in-depth look at Dwarven martial arts.
Kick high! I am!
I have a feeling for...
known as another Saturday night at the Dwarven bar in Moria.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Dwarven martial arts wouldn't involve kicking. It'd be more headbutts and
Crouching tiger, hidden dwarf.
That signature champion move of the uppercut.
Yeah, uppercut. I think Seth may even used the word uppercut at one point.
Well, uppercut is a race of man skill.
Yeah.
So it should be an upper headbutt. They should have an upper lower port and starboard headbutts. That's what.
Well, we'll find out what the truth of it is when the brawler finally reaches Bulwer, so that we can have our first real look at it. And of course, it still makes us really ask the question about that TBA brawler that appeared. Since it looked nothing like a heavily armored dwarf. They also announced the names of the new legendary servers that are going to be opened up at some point in the future.
Which this is confusing to me because they're closing a legendary server. So why are we opening up new ones?
Yes.
New rules, maybe?
Well, there will be slightly different rules in here. These are going to be the two new legendary servers are going to be called Shadowfax and Treebeard.
Yeah, and
the reason for this is because the biggest complaint that they've always gotten whenever they've gone to the next level is a group of people either saying you're opening it too soon or you're opening this up too late. So some of them want the progress to be a lot faster, and others want the progress to be a lot slower. So they decided that in this legendary server, they'll be opening up two of them, but not like Ithel and Honor, which had the exact same rules. But instead, in Shadowfax, it'll be moving at a faster rate. And I think they'll even be turning on, because they have on Ithel, for example, on Honor, they have this debuff to the experience you're earning. I think they'll be turning off that debuff to the experience earned on the Shadowfax server, so you'll be leveling up faster, and they'll be having more frequent updates to it. While Treebeard,
Here's the question, though: on the Shadowfax server, can you also move faster?
I don't think they're going to allow you to do that.
I
They're
really
not
kind
going
of
to give
want a
you war
server like
steeds at
that.
level 10. They're just not.
That's okay. I want them at level 5 anyway.
And you just
Hey,
all the
someday-
voiceovers are like.
Someday, it would be really funny if there was a server where we could like run super fast, even if we
Oh,
couldn't
that's what
get war
Leafy Feet
steeds
would do on
early.
the new server.
Right, like your Leafy Feet could be as fast as a war steed, and then you don't need war
Just
steeds early.
Zooming across the landscape. Forget mounts at this point.
But you still need war steeds. I'm sorry, no matter how fast I run, I can't trample anybody.
I know,
So
I know.
I need
but
a war steed.
You'd still get your war steed at the proper level, since they're not giving them to us at level 5 with the trample skill. Or the sprint. Which...
Well, I guess if I had like a shovel out in front of me, I could kind of
that would be really funny.
Like a
Cow
bulldozer.
catcher.
Cosmetic shovel that acts as trample.
Yes.
Okay, sorry,
Trades.
fine, I derailed this, but I was really hoping that if it was Shadowfax, we would like learn the meaning of speed. In
Well,
more
I
ways than
doubt
just
it,
progression.
because I suspect that they're not going to make the Treebeard server have everybody walk at half speed. So
I mean, that would be
You
funny too.
You got slow.
You want it slow? We'll give you slow!
yes. Now, the other thing that they're going to be doing on this server is that this is where they are going to be testing the tech for landscape difficulty on these two servers. And they want to test it on the legendary servers first, just the new ones. They're treating Honor as an older server in this particular case, is because they want to see how well it works at the lower levels, and they think they need a lot more testing before they want to have it appear on the upper levels, because a lot of things to do with rescaling and stuff like that, they think may break as soon as you hit the higher levels. Thus, they're going to first do it at lower levels on the legendary servers, see how it works as a concept, how popular it is, and all of that, and it'll give them time in which to do more testing before they release it to the other worlds. Was there something else with this?
Also,
yes,
on
this is also...
Treebeard, if Shadowfax, you learn the meaning of haste. On Treebeard, you basically have to walk everywhere.
Oh, wonderful. The other thing is that this is where they are going to be premiering the Eye of Sauron, because this was these are going to be the Eye of Sauron servers. They are planning on doing that, but only if you set your landscape I believe only if you set your landscape difficulty to a deadly level, which is tier. I think we discussed this last week, where you have tier 0 being the normal, tier 1 being a little harder, tier 2.
Plus 2 weeks ago, deadly plus 6.
Right. And then when you hit deadly, which is tier 3, then that's when the Eye of Sauron is be kicking in.
Except double death.
And then, Deadly 9 is mainly designed for two groups of people. One is for people who run in landscape with a large group, and thus the landscape is ridiculously easy because they've got a large group there. They just like to hang out together doing content, and they want to give the lore masters time to get off a skill before
There you
everybody's
go.
dead.
There you go. Be kind to your lore master friends. Set your
Yes.
difficulty really high.
Yes. And the other thing for it is that you always have these streamers who want to do the impossible things, where it's not intended for solo play or anything like this, but you know that there are some streamers who inevitably say, let's go and do this setting that's not intended for solo play and see how I do soloing it, and especially if it's good for giggles and laughs. But it's certainly not something you want to do with your character that you want to get undying into the moors. I mean,
actually, it's
into the barrel down.
Actually, it's one of the ways to properly revisit the older content is to set your difficulty higher. Because back in the day, it was harder.
Right.
That's true.
Then finally, they are talking about that they are working on the LI system update, and they are trying. Now, they haven't promised, I think the last time that they're not promising it by the end of the year yet, but they are still trying to see if they can get that out by the end of the year. Because they know that a lot of people want this revamped LI system.
Mm-hmm.
So it says that they are working on it. They are seeing if they can get out by the end of the year. But right now, Gundabad is the priority. So if it's one or the other that they have to choose from when allocating resources, it's going to go to Gundabad. And that's it for the game news this week. Yeah, only an hour into the show, right?
Slow news day?
Yes. Let's head into our store sales. Terry, what's for sale?
Let's see. The weekly coupon gets you a free Battle Potion Restoration ×5 with coupon code RESTORED now through June 17th. And you can get 30% off War Steeds and Mounts, Riding Skills, War Steed Cosmetics, and Movement Speed buffs now through June 17th.
Now, since they call this week's sale Find Your Shadowfax, should next week's sale then be Find Your Treebeard?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out next week. And let's head
What
to our...
even would a sale for Treebird be? Would it be like Enwater? Or
Movement buffs. Just to be ironic.
movement debuffs?
Yeah.
Debuffs. Like, who's going to pay for movement debuffs?
The legendary, the XP Tortoise Stone should be on sale. Find your Treebird. There you go, SSG. I solved it for you.
All right. Let's head into our week in gaming. Terry Edwin, what were you up to?
Not a whole lot. I did some SWTOR stuff that Kelbathian is probably going to talk about, and otherwise I didn't play much of anything. I did get the game updated, but I haven't actually logged in all week. I do have a highlight from last week since I wasn't here last week. Remember I've been talking about taking Terry back out to the landscape to see how she does? I took Terry back out to the landscape. They've nerfed it. They nerfed.
Or maybe you've just gotten really good.
No, because I remember going into those trenches. You would hop over. You would drop into the trench, and it would all be signatures. And they're not all signatures anymore in the trenches. So I was very disappointed. I made my way through it. Got lost a couple of times because I couldn't find the stupid supply crates. And but yeah, I got through it and didn't feel like as much of a slog as it used to. But yeah, I definitely felt disappointed because it's like, why couldn't it have been like this the first time we went through it?
That's how you're disappointed.
Even the second or third time we went through it. Yeah. So that was me. Arandis, how about you?
I was not able to do much this week either. The only thing I was really able to do was open up Minecraft for the first time. So if I disappear and you never hear from me again, I'm stuck in Minecraft.
I understand.
So that was pretty much it for me. Kelbathian, how about you?
Well, I wasn't here last week, and I'll get to that. But this week I ran Celevorn through some scroll stuff in Northern Arthelion, and then kind of right around the Slag Hill area and all that. And as I did, one of the things, of course, for that is you have to gather something. You have to gather a plant. And as I did that, I had an internal debate on if that plant's name was Wraith's Cowl, because it's all one word, or if it was Wraith Scowl, because one is decidedly more lethal than the other. A Wraith's Cowl Wraith's cowl, okay, it's cosmetic, it's okay, you look scary. A wraith scowl, if a wraith is scowling at you, especially if it's one of the riders, you are probably worse than dead.
Yeah, but can you even tell?
I don't know. Do they even have faces? Would you like to peek under the wraith's cowl to see if there is a wraith scowl?
I'll leave that up to my brave companion.
So, I did that because, going through all of the scroll stuff becomes a little bit tedious and my brain tends to wander. Second thing, I absolutely hate those quests in the game where you have to run something from here to there and avoid the nosy hobbits or whatever, and their little eyes on the map. I call them eye quests. So I hate the eye quests in the game. It's very frustrating. They like to spot me, and I usually do get lost. So when I have to avoid them, I'm suddenly like, where am I? And it gets really ugly really fast. Some stuff from last week, because I was not here, because I was an especially sad cat because of my kitty last week. But some the stuff from last week, the dwarf sayings that I wrote down and then didn't get a chance to actually say. Pain is temporary, but mithril is forever. Glory comes to those who win it. An axe in the hand is worth 2 left at home. Voila.
Don't forget, everybody's favorite dwarves must fight for dwarves.
Whoa.
I know. That could go in the game. It's so good. Non-LOTRO related stuff mostly has been Star Wars stuff. I haven't really been in a big gaming mood recently because, I did make it through chapter 1 of the story arc on my Sith, though, and I ran with Terry to do that, and we finally kind of went through the finish line there, and it's like, aha, it was the end of chapter 1, now we are in chapter 2, and I'm like, holy crap, how many chapters are there?
There are 3.
Okay, so 1 down, 2 more to go.
Yeah. But first you get to help me through my junk.
It's better to do it with a partner anyways. So.
Yeah.
It is better to do with a partner. She's running a Sith Warrior and I'm running the Sith Inquisitor, and we're going to wind up stuck on Drum and Cost for a little while after I get to the end of chapter 1.
Which is okay. It's what really happens and what really gets tedious is when you're running the same type of character, like 2 Inquisitors or 2 Warriors, or
our
the same thing.
Duo has been disbanded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, we finished it. I made all these choices. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Okay, now we have to do it again. What? Yes.
Once more with healing.
Imagine doing that 3 times in a row.
That gets interesting.
I mean, it can be for a small amount of time, but you have to definitely limit the gameplay on that. So Sans and I have done duos of the same class on regularly. A lot of that is because we'll play either light side, dark side, and then you can see them back and forth juxtaposed, or male, female.
It's kind of interesting to do both of those too at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
But we've discovered it is not Calabathian's cup of tea.
It can get
yeah. I kind of prefer kind of what we have with with the Inquisitor and the Warrior, because they're pretty much going to the same places, but you get to see different aspects, of these stories. And then I play a Sith Inquisitor, so I kind of have an idea of what to expect once I get there, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, Krister, how about you? I can see an introducing ... and I am on the edge of my seat.
Well, Calabathian, I'm glad you asked. Krister Wix isn't just about feet and food. Working in conjunction with Gandalf's Choice Consumer Products Division, we are proud to reveal the next indispensable item in your life, available exclusively at Krister Wix. Introducing the iPalantir. The iPal. Talk to your friends and family all over Middle-earth. Impress your important business contacts and social inferiors. Interact with and be possessed by terrifyingly evil ancient entities. The possibilities are endless. But wait, there's so much more. Like a little Dragok and roll? Use iDoom to store all of your favorite songs and play them back on our custom-made Dr. Dragok Beats speakers. Take amazing pictures with a resolution of up to 12 megahobbits. Create documents, spreadsheets, acorns, and more with Myasoft's Burrows 10. Once you've discovered the iPal, you'll keep it until you die, pal. Order your iPal today.
Take the money.
Yeah, by the way, you can only pay with Krister bucks. So,
I was going to say, Krister, we do not pay you enough for this.
No, it's just I get to inflict my insanity on you guys. So that's what's it brings great joy to me. So I'm happy that I can torture you with this.
So do we have an accompanying flyer for this?
No, I didn't get my graphic done yet, but it's coming. It'll come. So
Yeah.
I'll post that into the Discord when I've got it done.
So I've got my foot coats and my iPal and some Balrog bites. Oh man, I'm gonna be so cool. You said I can go to Kristerwick for this?
Kristerwick's Mysteries and Meat Shack. Come one, come all.
Field trip.
On
Yeah,
war
so
horses.
I love doing that stuff. So thanks for putting up with me, by the way, guys. So, I was going to contemplate the changes to the captain, but once Pine Leaf kind of went through it, I kind of said my piece about it. And then I was just thinking about when we were talking about like the kind of the intense respawn rates in certain areas of the new area. And I wanted to share two of the most epic things that our kin had ever confronted. And one was when Tarling's Crown had first come out, there was a bug where the ads would instantly respawn. And so we didn't realize it at the time, but we were in a 12-man group and we moved in there. And we had one of the most intense running battles that we've ever had because we just didn't understand what was happening at first. So it's like, oh, you pulled it again. Oh, you pulled him again. Oh, you pulled him. Wait, what's going on? They just keep coming. They keep coming, and nobody's doing anything. So it was just this huge, giant fight. And even though it was a bug, it was really cool. And then the other one we did was in Mordor. It was the stages where you have all the new Numenorians. And there was some glitch that happened, and it was like the ads had spawned like 5 times in a row on top of each other. So you couldn't tell. It looked normal. But when you activated them, suddenly you had 5 times the mobs there. And so everybody was getting annihilated in the landscape. And we just happened to be there with the 12-man group. We had no clue about this at all. And one of us goes up and activates that thing. And it's like the surprise ambush attack. And suddenly we're swarmed by all these people. And everybody's in like, la la la, smoking my pipe weed. And then all of a sudden, it's action and it's chaos and everything. It was so beautifully done. It was one of the best moments I've ever had in this game where, you're just sitting there bored, eating your lembas. And then suddenly there's arrows whizzing everywhere and everybody's dying around you and everything's on fire, So it was just great. It was a feel-good moment. And, of course, I would be interested to hear, where's been up to?
Well, I kind of experienced something similar to that crazy, I think. I had a moment of asking, is this acting as is intended? Is this a quote feature? There's deadly rain and cloudy head pass. It's more like deadly pain. You're supposed to be grabbing arrows and destroying bow racks, and when you destroy the bow rack, something respawns. We've seen this kind of thing before in the game. The respawn rate was insane, and they were set up in such a way that they were close enough that things were getting pulled in from sides, even though you weren't interacting with them. And it took quite a great deal of doing to. I would have liked to have Terry Adwin there. She likes to like kill things. I just let her kill things, and I'll go grab all the arrows, and then because we needed something like that because that was a thing. So hey, SSG, was this a bug? Is this acting as is intended? Because I'm kind of terrified to keep pushing on through this content right now. Actually, that's been the worst. It was like one small area, and I mean the rest of it, I can live with it. I've been through the War of Three Peaks. I got it, But yeah, otherwise though, I have to say, did the content up through, and I am now in the Second Age. The history stuff that they're giving us, the stories that they're giving us and telling us to fill in the background of the dwarves, I love it. I'm really enjoying it, and this is somebody whose main is an elf,
Okay.
so it's been
thinking-
so good.
I'm just
sorry.
captured by the name Cloudy Head Pass. It reminds me of that musical group in Minas Tirith.
Well, they were about to be singing the story of the captain and the hunter that died. I'm telling you, it was a thing. Fortunately, a random guardian that we didn't know also ended up showing up about the same time, and yeah, I was helping the other two tanks kind of DPS and trying to stay off at a distance if I could because squish. That it was a whole thing, but yeah, we'll see. The other thing over Memorial Day weekend, I'd had a conversation on Twitter with Jimmy Thornshield, a dwarf on Twitter, as opposed to my elf. He was talking about the fact that he'd spotted that you can ride a slow horse from Minas Tirith to the camp of the host, and vice versa. And he said it made me wonder, what is the longest stable ride in LOTRO? Well, there have been some more that have been thrown out on here that I haven't tested yet. But Terry, you will be interested to know that stable ride he was talking about is a good 4, almost 5 minutes longer than the ride from Cerridon to Candaith. The ride from Osferod to Trestlebridge that I kind of suggested is only about 2 seconds shorter than the ride from Cerridon to Candaith. There are other ones that were listed that I want to try, like Rivendell to Gwingris, 21st Hall to Orkwatch does seem long, but it might be the twists and turns like was mentioned. Somebody had said something about Scarhold Yarnfast. I didn't realize there was a slow one. Yeah, but I'm kind of curious if anybody comes up with any others that they think might be really long. I just had my phone stopwatch and hit the button at the same time I hit the mouse to pay for a ride, and did a few of them this afternoon. And
I think Flaming Deeps is actually longer than Orkwatch, isn't it?
I thought so too, but somebody mentioned Orkwatch, so I was going to try that one. But I
think Flaming Deeps is further in, so it should be longer.
Yeah, I might do that instead. But
I'd also be curious about the drunkest slow stable ride in the North as well.
Well,
I'm guessing it's in Moria at some point, because those
that was that whole quest where you're drinking to the memory of of the fallen there that you start in was that the Flaming Deeps?
Redhorn Loads, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. Redhorn Loads. Yeah, you start there, and you unlock all the lower level stables that you need, but you're drunk at the time, so you have no way how to get there otherwise. But yeah, at least that was my experience the first time. But yeah, that was some kind of like shenaniganry I got up to in LOTRO. In ESO, Volenfell Adventures did my first public dungeon with Luanori and Sanswinda and Pineleaf. When entering a dungeon, maybe make sure you aren't in veteran mode as opposed to normal.
No.
We got the first side boss, it's like a mini boss. They're technically, they are bosses. But when we got to the first big boss in the dungeon, we put up a good fight, but we melted fairly fast, and Luminor and I tried it once before when we were much lower level and totally clueless to the fact that maybe we shouldn't be in a group dungeon with only 2 of us. And we made it to that fight, but we're thinking, boy, this seems harder than the last time we did this. This should be somewhat easier. We've got champion points under our belt now. Yeah, and I happened to look and realize we were in veteran mode. So we got some nice gear without realizing it. But yeah, we all went back out and did normal, and we cleared our first dungeon together. It was a lot of fun. Also, Grotwood made it through Arden. I actually have a hilarious picture, a screen cap that I took of when we were in Arden at the college up there that's supposed to be indoctrinating the Khajiit and the Bosmer on how to be good Thalmor so that they can serve properly, and it's horrible, and the attitudes from the High Elves towards the other 2 members of the Dominion were really annoying the heck out of us, and he had on the angry personality and I had on the commander, and we're both like kind of looking opposite directions, looking thoroughly annoyed and disgusted. Yeah, so glad to be out of Arden. Not that aren't still dealing with High Elves in Grotwood, but Grotwood is gorgeous, and the Elden Tree, I'm ashamed to admit I've been there multiple times, and I've like hit the guild traders and such, stuff like that. Never made it to the upper levels until just a few days ago. I want to move in. Can I move into the Elden Root? Great big tree. I just want to live there. Sans, what did you get around to this week?
Well, this week in LOTRO, I ran around Evendom with the field trip, doing some quests I don't often encounter. Because I usually move on to the next place where I can find higher level quests. So it was kind of fun to keep questing in Evendom, and I think we were clearing out like a ruin that I think I may have been to like once before while hunting roving threats. So that was pretty cool. I only got really lost once and lost the quest and everything and had to go back and get it. So not too bad for not having been there and having been distracted by dogs. So yeah, that was pretty fun. And my nephew really, really, really wanted disaster mods for Minecraft.
Oh, great.
He really wanted disaster mods. And so he had like a whole day of, I'm going to call it science, with tornadoes and learning about the different types of tornadoes and how much more powerful they can be as they increase in speed and throwing things around. But he really wanted one that included more disasters than just tornadoes. So I managed to get a bucket server up and running for him that had deadly disasters on it, and pulled it up, and my sister agreed to play with us, and we got in, and my nephew immediately puts himself in creative mode. And my sister and I are trying to figure out, like, build houses, try to get some shelters, something. And we get a downpour of acid rain, and I die. Like, I just melt into the ground. And I was like, well, that's not what I intended. So, respawn, grab my stuff, run under a tree. I'm at, like, half health. And it's nighttime already. And I'm like, I don't like this. And I was like, okay, I'm going into creative mode to see if I can figure out the controls for this, because I'm supposed to be able to set a safe spot here where we can at least get our bearings before we die horribly. And my sister's like, no, I don't need to go into creative mode. Like, I'll be a good sport and I'll stay in survival. Well, it turns out the disasters target whoever's in survival mode every 90 seconds. And so we got to see an earthquake swallow her. She was swallowed by a sinkhole. And, I think something else killed her too. And then she was done with it. But I did finally figure out the controls, so I made her a safe area where she can build her house, the next time that she wants to play.
It sounds
If
like
she
a
ever
mob
wants to
that's
play.
only...
Huh?
Something a mod intended for only very, very large servers with the huge numbers of people if it's going to
Yeah, I think
target.
that, or like intended that I would like notice that that's what that code meant it was going to do. Because like I had to go back and reread like all the documentation for it before I realized that's what it was doing. And I can change how long between, which would have made a difference too.
Oh, it stands. I think it would have been so much cooler for right before she got swallowed. You were like, I think the worst of it's over.
That would have been. But no, I was totally like running around going, how do I use this? They made the wooden axe the tool for marking the safe spots. I'm like, how do I actually use this and mark it? So I'm like running around swinging a wooden axe that does nothing except like select squares on the landscape, trying to figure this out. So I was useless, but it was kind of fun, and nobody has wanted to play it since.
I wonder
Can't
why.
imagine why.
Well, okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering, it's a bit hypocritical to say, oh, let's play with disasters and then immediately switch to creative.
You know, that's what my sister and I thought too, but he's not at all remorseful about that. He just wanted to be able to spawn them where he wanted them. He didn't actually want them to just occur. So, yeah. Oops. But he's enjoying the tornado mod that's much more tame and that he can just spawn tornadoes, so.
Okay.
And it's in his solo world, so none of us are in danger. And I did manage to make a vanilla Minecraft server that was a lot of fun, so. Or at least I had fun, and was completely wowed by Pineleaf.
Wowed by Pineleaf.
Yeah, like we started, and there's a group of us, and we've kind of played Minecraft before, and we're kind of getting in there and kind of showing Ren around, and we've made this dugout, and we're like sorting out like who has wooden weapons. Do we have enough cobblestone to make some swords? And we see like Pineleaf has acquired a shield. We're like, Pineleaf, where are you?
You turn around, he's encrusted in diamonds.
Right?
Pretty much.
I'm like just mining some iron over here. We're like, where's over here? And then like the next day he's got a cat, and we're all scratching our heads, and then we're like, well, maybe if we go like mine in this ravine, we'll find good stuff. And it turns out it's not just any ravine, it's a oh, the word escapes me. It's the tunnels.
A mine?
Yeah, it's a mine shaft. At the bottom of it. And so, like, we make an emergency shelter, and Pineleaf's like, I'm building a house! And we come back, and there's this very nice house there. Yeah, so, taking some notes there. But it was fun. And I was proud of getting it up, so. In Star Wars, Nitesh and I made it off Hutta with our bounty hunters, which is nice. I don't really like Hutta. And
You'll be back.
I know. And did some running around in ESO with friends, including the dungeon that was on veteran mode and then not. And I also unlocked some companions for some of my alts, which was kind of fun. So that was pretty much my week. How was your week, Pine?
Over on Crick Hollow, my warden resumed questing, where I started researching events about an old Dwarven war over on the Emerald Dale. So I've started on in that content. Over in Minecraft, in addition to the shenanigans that Sansbunda was discussing, I started on a quest to capture a forest mansion. This is a long-range goal for this character, because while I've attempted to raid mansions in a couple of challenges, like once in the MHC, where I think I lasted through half the MHC before I got killed and trying to go against a mansion. And there was a mage rage where we needed to get a totem of undying. So I had to get one there. So in that case, we jumped on top of the roof to take care of the evoker that way. But this is going to be the first time in which I'm going to be attempting to seriously try to take over the entire mansion. And the goal is to take control of the mansion. And once I do that, is to create some birthday cakes, sort of in memory of the upcoming 10th anniversary of Minecraft. And of course, also celebrate the fact that they added candles to the game so that I can make these birthday cakes instead of just regular cakes.
Because that's important.
Of course. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about making birthday cakes if if it weren't for candles weren't just added to the game. And in ESO, I tied up some loose ends in the Blackwood. I think I got just about everything done in the Blackwood now, except for the group stuff. I think is the only thing. And of course, trying to find. I have not yet found every single Sky Shard or book because I'm sure that's a long-term project. And that concludes my week in gaming. Let's have a look at news beyond LOTRO, where the Lord of the Rings anime prequel, The War of the Rohirrim, has been announced.
What?
Yes, that's right. Lord of the Rings is getting another movie. This time it's an animated treatment of a new film title, The War of the Rohirrim. New Line Cinema, the studio behind Peter Jackson's Middle-earth shattering Lord of the Rings films, is returning to J.R. Tolkien's source material for the first time since the Hobbit movies and teaming up with Warner Brothers Animation for this new project.
Cool.
We'll see how this goes. And this is, of course, an animated prequel to the film set before the events of the main trilogy. Want to focus on one of the most legendary figures of Middle-earth history, the Ninth King of Rohan, Helm Hammerhand. This film will expand the story to the fortress that bears King Hammerhand's name, Helm's Deep. Although Rohirrim will tell a standalone story, the new anime series is going to be creating with a companion's piece to the New Line's Lord of the Rings trilogy, with the story with an artistic elements are woven throughout that reconnect fans to the excitement and cinematic wonder of Middle-earth. So we'll see how that goes. And it'll be directed by Kenji Kamiyama. And he's one of the best known for directing the cult classic anime series Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex. Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews will write the screenplay, while Oscar-winning Philippa Boyens will who co-wrote the original Lord of the Rings movies, will return to consult on the project. We'll see how that goes.
I guess we'll just reserve judgment until it actually comes out.
Yes, we'll reserve judgment for when it comes out. That's probably the best thing we can do at the moment. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases, which includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you can use it right from your Discord server with the LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 17 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players, you can go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you like since when, you can send it to podcast@LotraPlayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. Players Alliance at Players Ally, LotraPlayers at LotraPlayers, Arendis at Arendis, Pineyfit Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terryadwin at Terryadwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. And apparently, Krister is fighting Autobots on Escadar with Bilbo.
That's right.
The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. USC Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USC Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. That is all for night, and this is Pine Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.